No.
You get the Entourage call?
No, but they
fucking call you?
No. They call, when it was called Action.
Right. There you go.
When it was called Action, I hammered it out. And
was Ted Demme the best? Was Ted Demme the best ever?
Ted was the best.
Was he not the greatest?
Ted's a man I will always miss.
I loved that guy. He loved that show.
I loved him, and we loved him doing that show. So Sasha Grey, how is she empowering women? How did she figure it out?
Here's what she figured out. She figured out, I believe, she's really smart. I'm not saying that she's not, that something isn't or wasn't broken, because I do think that sex workers, even if they can compartmentalize, you want to talk about this in the show, don't you? There's sex workers, and
sure.
Even if they can compartmentalize.
The guy wrote Rounders. Let's talk about hookers.
Even if they can compartmentalize, I think that there's something that's broken or dead that happens to them. And it was funny when we started to interview them. I mean, the first half hour you're interviewing these girls, it is totally fascinating, because the second you open a laptop and start taking notes, they'll tell you everything. They'll tell you the guys who want to get fucked in the ass with a dildo. They'll tell you who wants to wear.
Just raise his hand.
Right. Yeah. They'll tell you stories about guys who really want to wear diapers. Have them read you and read a bedtime story to you.
It's like he's at an auction.
And but then so for the first half hour, you're really enthralled. Like, you can't believe, because you can say to them, so, I mean, how do you learn to really give a great blowjob? And they'll talk about, but after a little while, it really is dark and really depressing. But here's the thing. Sasha decided she was going to do it on her own terms, her own way. She was going to come in. She knew she was going to take over the business, I believe. I think that she got an article. She was on the cover of LA Weekly. The cover of LA Weekly, like 6 months.
Right, but so are fish tacos. You know what I mean? So's the La Brea Tar Pits.
Nice, Carson.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So's a fucking food truck. Who cares? Like, that's making it in porn?
That got her.
But you could say again, were you on the cover of LA Weekly? No, I wasn't. So you have a salient point.
She figured it out.
A word my wife says I completely overuse. She goes, maybe you could just say good point.
Yeah. I think she figured it out.
How did she get out without getting pulled back in?
She's been out for, well, it's a good question. She's smart. She now DJs around the country, gets paid real money to go DJ. She does music. She, Entourage, she does all sorts of movies. We were the first movie to call her. It was really hard. I emailed her through, it was, I guess, MySpace then, and I felt like such a creep sending the email like, I'm working with Steven Soderbergh and I have a movie. It just seemed like such bullshit. Yeah. Just like a John. So I gave her a number of an agent at CA. So call there, they'll vouch.
You gave her your burner cell phone?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
On the down low. Holla, we need to talk about it. What was the personality you gave the stick in Walking Tall? What was the one you and David decided on?
Agile thinker, but angry. Okay. Very quick to anger. Short
and I swear to God, in the poster, it's a 2x4, right? I would swear if I pulled it up. Walking Tall is a bat. I swear it was a 2x4.
I think on the new. Is it a 2x4?
I thought
that movie came from my ribs.
I just remember wood.
He goes, Matt Cohen says, all I remember is wood. So when a network, sorry, you could tell you're big league and I'm arena league. When a network executive says that to you, you're a big shot. When a movie studio, we talk, you're a fan of the podcast.
Love the podcast.
We talk incessantly.
I listen to everyone.
Thank you. We talk incessantly about how the fuck did these guys get their jobs? A guy that asks you, who wrote Rounders and Runaway Jury and these good movies, and he goes, it's important for the stick to have a personality. Like, how do you not go, what are you like, but you got to just keep,
that moment in Back to School when when they ask the dean how they could let Dangerfield in, and he goes, it's a really big check.
Yeah, okay. Well, fair enough.
No, you just, basically, you sell, in that moment, you're selling, you are in that moment, you're trying to serve their thing. I was a fan of The Rock, I'm a pro wrestling guy.
Check it. Look at the
in the poster,
tape.
It's a 2x4.
But in the movie, it's a bat.
Maybe in the original, it was a bat. There was talk about a bat, and the rap gift is a bat.
Really?
They gave bats to everybody for the rap gift.
And Dwayne
here's the thing.
Is cool.
So to answer the question seriously, you really try hard on those movies. Like, we really tried our best to do what they asked. Get Johnny Knoxville in the movie. Make him have a character that he'll want to play. And give the bat a personality, or the piece of wood a personality. But that is, you do feel the effects of that. And that's why, as a New Yorker, I make a lot of independent movies. Our last movie was Solitary Man, starring Michael Douglas. And that's gotten the best reviews of anything we ever
Good
did.
movie.
It got, thank you, it made a lot of top 10 lists. And, that was an impossible movie to get made. I lost money doing that. I spent a year not making any money at all. So I rationalize it that way. Like, I work on Hollywood movies. I do the best I can on them. Some of them are awesome experiences. I really like Runaway Jury. I love Ocean's 13. Sometimes you're working on, we did a few weeks on Bad Boys too. Like, sometimes you're just trying to put your fingers in the dam for these people.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what is weirder, the bat having a personality or the studio not greenlighting the movie until you make Johnny Knoxville happy.
Well, we couldn't believe
what
that
is
was
happening?
We couldn't believe that was the job.
And let me interrupt. That's not a slam on Johnny Knoxville, but you have The Rock, who's a huge action star, walking around town, old school, breaking people off with a 2x4. So it's weird that they're like, where are we going to put Johnny Knoxville? We need him to
I
sell
will tell you
movie.
this. They had a multi-million-dollar offer on the table to Johnny Knoxville, and he said no. And
Because he'd rather have a snake bite his dick
yeah.
in
Yeah.
Jackass 11.
Yeah, as Neil Brennan said, they're in their production office looking at pictures of snakes to pick which one. And yeah, he'd rather do that than come and do this. But we did it. We hit the 3-pointer and we landed in Knoxville.
I don't know what multi-million dollars is. You'll have to explain it to our listeners because I don't think. I mean, it's such
For Johnny Knoxville. Multi-millions for Johnny Knoxville.
for anybody. Like when you make $1 million, you become aware of how much that is. So when you go into like baseball contracts, I know you're a big sports guy, and when you realize somebody makes like Jeremy Guthrie, who was just on the podcast, Baltimore Orioles pitcher, losing his pitcher in baseball, gets traded to the Rockies. They have to buy him out with a $2 million check. So on top of the $6 million salary, he's going to make $8 million.
Yeah.
He lost 17 games last year. He's a good pitcher. He's not bad. His ERA is good. But when you make $1 million, the thought of $8 million, maybe because it's kind of tangible. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it completely makes sense. Yeah, it's an insane amount of money. I mean, obviously the window that most athletes have is very small. They're going to live off, even if they make $1 million, like Jeremy Lin, what's he playing for, 800 this year?
Yeah.
And you think he gets $5 million after this year? $5 million a year?
You know what? He might get a hometown discount, like a short end deal, maybe 3 years, $15 million.
Right. Yeah, I think that's good. I think he's earned it.
I think he's fine.
I just think these athletes give you, for me,
I'd rather have
never...
him than Amari Stoudemire letting guys go by like a goddamn matador.
Amari had a monster game last night. But
yeah,
me,
1 out of 60. Thanks for stopping by, Amari.
Yeah.
Here's $100 million. Once every 2 months, I need you to have 20. He had 21 points. What are you talking?
21 and 9 or something.
So what? That's what fucking Dolph Shays would get in the day with Chuck Taylor's. Who the fuck?
Mikan? I think Mikan averaged 21 and 9.
Yeah, of course he did. But Amari's supposed, and he always, well, whatever. This will air.
Billy Paultz. He's putting up Billy Paultz numbers.
He's putting up Dan Shays.
There you go. Good.
Mike Jerminski type numbers.
Who was the guy on the Nuggets? It was Issel. Dan Issel. I think Issel was putting up better numbers.
Great coach. Mark Eaton from the...
Did you ever see Issel when he would take the teeth out?
No.
Oh, so, yeah, you can find... Issel, I saw when he would play, he would take the 4 front ones were gone. So he would put a bridge in as soon as he would interview or coach, but Issel's got no front teeth.
That's pretty... He was a good coach.
He was a really good player. Great rebounding. Good shooter.
When you...
I never begrudge these athletes the money. They
I don't begrudge them the money.
Because to me,
you're
those
worth
guys...
what you can get.
They make our days fucking livable all the time. So
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you're exactly right.
I mean,
you
they
play
do.
fantasy baseball?
I can't even tell you what I play fantasy because you'll be merciless. But
Why?
I play fantasy golf.
You know who... All right, seriously, you know who plays that? Is all hockey players they have a golf problem.
And I've played fantasy basketball. My son plays fantasy football, so I'm involved with him in the fantasy
I
football.
won last year.
You did?
Yeah, a long time coming. The Verona Hillbillies, we put the trophy up.
That's great.
I drafted against type. I always go running back because
Right.
I figured there's not enough running backs to go around. And this year I went, you know what, screw it. I'm going to go. I got Megatron, I got Calvin Johnson, and Larry Fitzgerald, 1 and 2. And then I just peppered and then Matthew Stafford.
Oh, that's great.
And it wasn't even close.
You just destroyed.
It wasn't even close. One year I had the Patriots, I had Tom Brady and the Patriots D when they were undefeated. So the last 2 games, Tom Brady and the starters didn't play.
Right, they don't play.
And I lost the Super Bowl. Or we just lost 10,000 people just turned off their
Are
iPods.
you? But you're a big hoops guy. Like
Yeah, big Knicks fan.
That's my, you know.
I love Mike Woodson. D'Antoni was killing me, and I'm glad he's gone.
Yeah, it's weird
He's a bad hire.
It's weird that Carmelo's now admitting he wasn't playing hard.
Carmelo, look, Walking Tall, it's a 2x4. You get called in, it's 4. Where was that shot?
Canada.
Okay.
Vancouver.
Everything's in Canada. Right?
That was Vancouver.
But my question remains, how hard is it for a writer to let go of something and hand it over?
Sometimes it's really difficult. It's a great question. We've been really lucky, Dave and I, because like Rounders was John Dahl, who's a great director and a
Dave
great
is holding
guy.
you back, but go ahead.
I can't tell you how many times I would have gotten beaten up as a kid if Dave wasn't there.
Oh, really?
Oh, God, yeah. My best friend since I'm 14 years old. He's 14 and 15.
I love this.
Yeah. He's the greatest and so fucking talented. So, but the thing is, John Dahl, the director of Rounders, was great. Let us be there every day. And he said a great thing about actors. He said, you guys can stay on the set to us as writers. You can be here every day as long as you're not assholes. The second you're assholes, you're gone. And think before, you can talk to the actors. You have carte blanche. Talk to anyone you want. But just remember that actors never forget anything you say to them. So be really careful about what you choose to say because you can't take it back. They bury it away and it will affect their performance. And it was great. And it's really true that you need to be, don't you think it's true?
Yeah, it's fascinating that you say that because it is, you know, my follow-up question. I do want to go back to the letting go, but I've always been fascinated with the Coen brothers and guys like you and David when you direct. I don't know how you can have two directors because there's already at times, you know, middle of the week or Thursday when you start getting into nights when they put the Condor crane up.
Oh, yeah.
And you got a DP telling you where to stand, and then the AD says, don't stand there, stand here. And then the director goes, I really need you to stand in the third spot. And you're like, you guys need to get together and form a consensus place for me to stand. So to add another chef to that kitchen, I mean, how do you delegate who talks to the actors? How do you delegate, look, we're just shooting, I don't want the goddamn insert shot, we're just plowing forward.
If you have to delegate in that situation amongst yourselves, don't direct as a team.
Right.
Right? I'm like Dave and I, because we've been brothers since we're 14 and 15, we just have that unspoken language where we never disagree. When there's a take, we look at each other and one of us just goes and talks to the actor. And we just know.
And you don't have to, one of you, it hasn't happened where you go, I'm telling you that was better than the one you
No,
liked.
I mean, that thing hasn't, in the editing room. Yeah, I mean, in the editing room, can we look at the way a scene's put together and one of us go, dude, that close-up blows. We should go to the two-shot, and then we should go to the over the shoulder on her, and then we should come in tight on him. Yeah, for sure. But
Well,
then
no
you just
actor
go
gives a shit about the editing room. It's on the set when you keep coming up and going,
right.
You know what?
Faster, slower.
If your stick could have personality,
Yeah,
that's where when we don't forget it.
yes.
Doug Liman on the set of Go was so batshit insane, but he's also like a genius. But he's a genius.
He's a brilliant guy.
He is a brilliant guy. Like he's an actual Mensa card-carrying genius person. But there's some people that are genius when you're around them, you're in their light at all times. And Doug's genius light is sort of more like a laser.
That's well, you know,
where
the
if
great.
you're just off to the side of it, you're just looking at a crazy person. He's got food on his face. He's got the Jufro. And he's saying to Scott Wolf and I, and that on the movie Go was shot like a guerrilla movie. Like we didn't have permits. We would just go into a liquor store and start shooting.
See, that's a screenplay. John August wrote that.
John
script,
August,
and John
great
August
screenwriter.
crushed it.
Yeah, I don't
mean,
know why
he
he
just
wrote
wrote
more things for me. I must have bothered him somehow.
I think John crushed that script. Doug, you know the great the great Doug Liman story about the Tiger Woods commercial, right? I mean, this is Doug's genius. So Doug was on the set of a commercial, and they were shooting a big Tiger Woods commercial. And Doug, I think, wasn't even the director. He was helping. He was like the second unit director on this huge commercial that they were doing.
Go and everything.
Right. Yeah, I think you'll know the timing when I tell you what happened. And during a break, he saw Tiger tapping the club, like playing that game where he was hitting the ball in the end of the club. And Doug went, hey, do that. I think this is a spot. And he got his camera and he fucking shot Tiger doing that.
That was the commercial.
He came up with that. They ditched
and then Tiger hit a home run with it.
Yeah, they ditched the whole commercial because Doug watched him. Because Doug's strange brilliance, that laser weird focus that he has, he realized that's magical. It's an amazing thing. And so they had millions of dollars to do the rest of the commercial. They never aired. They just shot Doug's commercial of Tiger.
Yeah,
hitting the
it's a
ball.
commercial for the listeners. Tiger, Brian Koppelman's joining us. He wrote Rounders. He wrote Walking Tall. He wrote.
That's great. That's
discovered
great.
Tracy
I think
Chapman.
Thank you. I'm hiring a service to scrub Walking Tall.
Why?
From IMDb.
People
'Cause
like
you're-
this stuff.
All right, anyway, go ahead.
So Tiger Woods is tapping a ball on his golf club. Like how you do when you play ping pong and you're bored. You're just tapping it. But the part that's super impressive, for me as a sports fan who's seen plenty of golf, that I thought they must have CGI'd that. There's one